Hey guys, you may be wondering where Meadowlark is. Don't worry, I just taught him how to chainsaw. He's outside right now cutting down some trees. Don't worry, totally safe. He's wearing a helmet. Today, for our week 4 video, these are the things we're going to cover. But before we begin, I'd like to show you how I'm probably going to be Parent of the Year. Here are some of the things that Meadowlark's been learning over the course of our social distancing. Meadowlark's learned all the usual things. How to avoid matching, strum a guitar, herd chickens. He's even learned language. Finally, he's becoming quite the artist, learning how to obsessively draw cat butts. Parent of the Year. Now let's get started with our lecture. The annotated bibliography. I'm going to navigate to the instructions for it by going to the tasks link on the course website and then scrolling down and clicking on the big space. We'll scroll down a little bit further, and after the proposal, you'll see the annotated bibliography. So this annotated bibliography is a way to help you with your big space research paper. The bibliography will help you with your big research paper because you'll be summarizing sources and you'll also be explaining why they're important. So you'll be able to copy paste from your annotated bibliography and include the things that you've written in your big research paper. One thing I want to note though that some people are tempted to do is when they get an article, they look at the abstract and they just try to write that, or they copy paste the abstract as an entry in the annotated bibliography. That's plagiarism, so I want to caution you from doing that. Because for your annotated bibliography, there's only 4 sources for this bibliography. Now, your big paper requires 7 sources, but for the bibliography, I'm just asking you to complete 4. So here are a few of the rules for the annotated bibliography, the things that I'm going to be asking you to do. So out of those 4 sources, 2 can come from previous readings on space. So it could come from anything from the U-Teaches that you've done. It could be from my readings that I've given you, provided you on space. That's absolutely fine. And 2 of your sources should be from new research you found. So nothing from the class. They can come from peer-reviewed journals, and you will have to have peer-reviewed journals being used in your big research paper. And that would be accessing them from the Hoover Library, and or you can use these magazines too. They don't count as peer-reviewed journals, but they will count in your works cited for your big research paper and can count in your bibliography. So from these sources, it's fine to use. If you have a question or you have another source, you got to email me and I'll give you approval for using it. Now, again, you may not use these sources, but hopefully you will for your big research paper. I'm going to scroll a little bit so that you can see how the bibliography is designed and how you should format it when you turn it in to me. So your bibliography should have the works cited portion, and you can see it right here. So I've got an example bibliography works cited. So this is from a book. Yours will probably be articles. You may have books. Again, that's up to you what you find out with your research. And then you have a summary portion, and the summary, just bold it. So have this, right, your citation, then your summary, indicate it's the summary, 100 to 200 words. This is where you write your summary. Now, a summary is not a paraphrase. It's more general than that. It's not an opinion, okay? It's the author's opinions that you want, not your opinions about the summary. So it's not like it's good or bad. Now, a lot of you have done this already with your U-Teach, so you've got a little bit of practice. You can rely on quotes in your summary, but you shouldn't have a lot of them. And think about using CASC and use signal phrases in your summary to indicate that this is the author rather than your ideas. So here's some example. As Drews argues, as the author points out. A summary should also have, a guiding sentence at the beginning that sets up the context for it, right? The overall argument presented in blah, blah, blah by Drews is that blah. The author describes how blah, 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 blah. So you get an idea of how that's supposed to work. The next part for each entry is the statement of use. So this is where you get to express your opinion and explain to me why this could be useful for your big research paper. So each entry will have the citation, it'll have a summary section, then a statement of use section. So you do that 4 times, 1 for each article or chapter or book that you're going to use. These are the format expectations. So follow the above. Use MLA citation. It should be free from grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes, and should be written using a formal tone. So scintillate instead of twinkle, like we talked about in class earlier. And then your bibliography should be in alphabetical order. So by the last names, that'll be the order of the writers, their last names. I'm getting the rubric fixed, but if you follow these rules, you're gonna do well. Just like last week, you can get extra credit by getting some help with your work. So in this case, it'll be the annotated bibliography. Again, just go to the resources page and you'll scroll down and you can use the Writing Center to help you with some of this research and writing the bibliography, and also talk to Hoover librarians. So chat with them and they'll be able to direct you and help you find some sources. The last thing we're going to cover today is the new UTeach instructions. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to College Writing and go to the tasks page. I'll click on UTeach and then I'll click on the new lesson plan. So what you're going to be doing for this is, again, you're going to be selecting a reading, so I need to know which reading you're going to use. So you've got to let me know ahead of time, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this next week. And then you're going to create an infographic. So let's go ahead and click on the new lesson plan outline. Up the UTeach lesson plan template, and you're responsible for filling this in. Now, if you do have more than one article that you're going to be teaching us about, you'll have summaries for each article. So right here, after you've filled this out, you've got your citation in MLA, then you have a summary. Now remember, a summary presents things in an unbiased way. So you're just describing what the article was about. So you'll say things like, as the author argues, as blah blah points out. You don't want to say things like, this is a great article, what a wonderful article. So we're just practicing summary strategies that you can use later in your big research paper, the big space. The next part that you'll include is the importance. Now that's where you get to have your opinion. Now, summaries for each reading that you'll use, and then the importance can just be one importance section that talks about why all these readings are important. Next are the instructional goals. Now these goals are the list of English department goals that courses are supposed to go through. So you pick 2 goals that you are reading, and your infographic are going to communicate to the class. Why did you choose these readings? Or rather, how did these readings connect to these 2 learning goals? So that's what you'll do here. Finally, I need the smartening questions. The week before your smartening is due, that Friday, the week before, I need to have the whole lesson plan filled out. The only thing you don't have to do is the infographic. That infographic is due the day before, so Monday or Wednesdays of the day that your class is going to respond to the smartening. Now, what we're going to do now is go ahead and learn about the infographic. The infographic you create will be made using one of these 2 programs. The programs are free, and we're just going to go over PictoChart because they're about the same, but you can use whichever one you want if you want to take a look at them. So the infographic is like a Cliff's Notes for your classmates where you summarize the important information that's presented in the readings. These are the parts of the infographic, so you're going to have a title for your infographic. You're going to have a short 2 to 5 sentence thesis-driven paragraph describing why the reading is important, what you're going to get out of this infographic, those sorts of things. Then you'll have a section that have new concepts defined and connected to argument and space. All right. You'll have another section that critiques the arguments made using old concepts from class. So you could show how the article works, well as an argument, no more than 2 things, and show one of the flaws in the argument, again, using concepts from class. Last, two other things. You'll have a short conclusion, again, that's about 2 to 5 sentences, and then a works cited portion. Now, for the works cited portion, cite any images that you upload that aren't part of the library that PictoChart or Genial.ly, the programs that will make your infographic, have. I'll show you some of the things that you can do when you're creating your infographic. So I'll just click on the link here and we'll be taken to PictoChart. I've already created a log and you'll have to do that. Now I'm not sure how you guys want to do it so that you can work on it together. If you want to make an account just for your partners and you so that you can work on it together, or you can use different video chat programs to share screens and just talk about what you're doing. But I'm going to go ahead and create new. So you want to create new and then infographic. And it's very important. You're going to use not a template. So click that first one. So do not use a template. This is your design. And then you can see some of the things I can do. You can go through and you can take shapes and it's drag and drop. You can add lines, photos, and you can search for different pictures, whatever you'd like to use. And then again, it's just, you've got handles on them so you can resize them and click to delete things. But that's up to you. You can go to design components, and this will be something that's very valuable. So even though you're not using a template, you can do things like comparisons, and they're kind of templates that you can just drag and drop in here and then change the text to make it fit with your design. Now, as you're doing this, I expect you to use the CRAP principles, so contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity to make a really good organized infographic. You can upload your own pictures. You have a limited amount of space, but here's one where I was teaching Meadowlark how to sit, and he likes Tic Tacs, so that's what we were doing. You can add backgrounds, and you'll see how the backgrounds work when you select one. And it's just drag and drop or click on it, and you have different background colors. Text is kind of like Word. You have titles, subtitles, things that you can add. When you click one, you'll be able to edit it. And then up here, you can see you've got a huge library for changing the typefaces and the alignments and other things like that. Finally, you can even add videos if you like, charts and maps, but I'll let you go ahead and play with that. So again, it's a pretty easy program to use, drag and drop. You can design your infographic, and you can make it larger too just by dragging this down. So if it's a little too short, you can just drag and make it longer to make your infographic meet the needs for your YouTube. You may want to know what an infographic is and get some design ideas from other infographics. So again, an infographic is the gist of information presented in an interesting way with lots of visual illustrations helping readers understand what's being discussed. So you can see there's a number of infographics here. Some are very visual, and then some are more text-based. Now again, I expect you to use the CRAP principles when you're creating your infographic. Your infographic will probably be more like this one, very text-based infographic. And you can see we've got our contrast, or we've got this large title, how does impeachment work? And we keep going down, and you can see how you've got these subheadings that are repeated, okay, with the information. So we've got 3 levels of different text, all helping us scan, right? So the most important here, a little less important, and then the description of this important heading. And you can see how it's very visible, helping us understand the process here for impeachment. So you can do an infographic kind of like this, right? So using the CRAP principles to make it make sense and communicate to your audience.